So, discussing the marketing mix, we talked about the four P's: product, price, place, and promotion. We're talking about product this time. We talked about that we want our product to be, we want it to be able to make money, all right, potentially profitable or profitable. We want it to be something that the consumer wants, all right. We've talked a little bit to some extent about them wanting our product and how much they want it. So, we have tangible products, things you can touch, intangible, things you can't touch. We also talked about a service, and that it depends on who's doing it. Usually it's someone that really knows what they're doing, and you can't do it. I think that's a good way to look at a service, something you probably can't do or not very good at. So we have durable good or a hard good. Those are the same things. They're going to last, things that last for a long time. You get lots of repetitive uses out of them. You don't just use them once. And we talk about things you use once, and we call those consumables, things you use up. And we associate consumables with non-durables or soft goods. We talked about our three types of goods: convenience, things that you're buying very quickly, you don't put a lot of thought into it. And we looked at right here, this is a good word, impulse items, things you don't think about, you just buy it. We looked at shopping goods, things you're putting a little bit of more thought into, and specialty goods. You're putting a lot of thought into that, a lot of research, trying to figure out what the best one is. We talked about goods and services and that they can apply to both a consumer and a producer. Again, the consumer, person that's using it; producer, the person that's going to make something with it. The producer makes our goods. They produce a product for us. So utility, that something's useful. We talked about there's a couple of different types of utilities. We put form, tasks together. 1, time is 2, place is 3, possession is 4. So our 4 types of utilities that we talked about. A product service is only a tool to solve a consumer problem. That's a nice line there. So marketers have succeeded with the product element when customers view the product service as the best solution to their needs. We talk about that some more when we talk about, as we were saying, branding. And we talked about a couple different ways to get branding. And that's what we're looking for. That last one there, that brand insistence happens when consumers insist on their brand and will not accept a substitute. That's where we want to be with our product. All right, when we get to that point, we're established. People know who we are. And we have some brand awareness. People can talk about it. They can probably describe our product, our logo, to their friends, and everyone knows exactly what it is. We looked at some older data. We talked about national brand. That would go everywhere. That's probably going to get a lot of brand insistence. Okay, I want that national brand. The store brand. We talked about some family and individual. We looked at by state. Neat to know. All right, so this one I think is a cool one. So we have Kraft, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. That's General Mills, Kellogg's. Mars makes 6, Unilever 7. 1, 2. Johnson & Johnson is 8, Procter & Gamble is 9, and then Nestle makes 10, right? Yeah, so you have our 10 companies that own a whole lot of brands that we use on a day-to-day basis. So we talked about a product mix, what types and different things, different products we're going to offer. We talked about depth and breadth, all right? So those words sound the same. So depth, we talked about subcategories. That's our vertical. So variation, sizes, colors, flavors, but it's all the same iPhone. All right. And then we talk about product breadth. So that is width. So that's our iPhone, our iPad, iWatch, and all those other things. When we talk about a product and what we're going to back it on and what's going to be, our main thing, we talk about we can make it on design, on the quality. We're making a good product. That's our main thing. Our features that we have, and maybe just because it falls into our brand. All right. And brand's a big one. You want to make sure that you're putting something out there that sticks with your brand. You don't want to hurt your brand. So, and those 4 kind of play into a little bit more when we talk about product development. So product development is the creation of a new or different product that offers innovative new benefits to the end user. All right. This includes both the creation of entirely new product and modifications to an existing product. These changes or new introductions may be targeting a newly defined customer requirement or a niche category in the market. So a niche category, we're going to go after a real small group. That might be a specialty group that we're going to go after. But we're going to create something new. And when we talk about product development, we look at it in 8 steps. All right. So we're going to generate an idea. We're going to sit down and we're going to brainstorm. This is when you write everything down. If it even sounds like it might be a good thing, well, let's just write it down. We'll talk about it later. So number 2, we're going to screen ideas. We're going to find the ones that, some of these aren't going to work or might not be profitable, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit too, but we're going to screen ideas. So number 3, develop and test those ideas. We're going to start to put a little bit more thought into them. Maybe we're going to get a prototype because we got to see if it actually is going to work. Number 4, we talked about this. We got to see if we're going to be able to make money. All right. Number 5, conduct a market or beta test. I don't know that everyone does this. There are some restaurants do this. They have market tests where they'll put things out into a certain market. If I'm not mistaken, in Columbus, Ohio, there's a beta test market. I think it's for Wendy's, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that one up here in a little bit. But there are restaurants that do. They test for a certain area, and the companies will see, hey, do they like it or not? So we're taking a small sampling to see if it's something that's going to work. Number 6, finalize technical aspects. So make sure we got everything right the way we want it. Number 7, commercial aspects. How are we going to put this thing out there? How are we going to promote it? We'll talk about promotion later on. And then at number 8, we put it out there. Let's see how well it went, and let's talk about it. So key questions in developing successful products and services. So these are some things to think about too as we're going through and we're talking about product. What does the customer want from the product service? What needs does it satisfy? So we talked about this. We want to make sure this is something that the customer wants. All right. If they're not going to buy our product, they're not going to think our product is a solution, is the tool that they need, then not going to be very well. What features does it have to meet these needs? Okay, again, we got to make sure we're fulfilling them. The customer's most important. Are there any features you've missed out? So can we do anything? Now, this is a good one. Are you including costly features that the customer won't actually use? Now, some companies will put that in their product just because they're trying to make more profit. Some people will take it out. How are they going to use it? Got to make sure we know that. What does it look like? Sizes, should it be? What colors? Talk about an iPhone. We talked about that earlier coming out. Got to make sure it's the right color. So you want to make sure you're not putting out things that people don't want. Again, what do people want? What's it going to be called? We talked about branding. How is it differentiated versus your competitors? What makes you stand out? What makes yours different? We talked about USP earlier. All right. What makes you stand out? What makes you unique? How are we going to communicate it? How are we going to promote it? And what is the most it can cost? So we talk about price. We're going to talk about price some more. How are we going to set that price? And, just a lot of questions, a lot of things to look at. Well, one product or more than one. Is it a good, a service, or an idea? We talked about that. Tangible and intangible. All right. Special features. Can you use it for more than one thing? All right. How are we going to get there? How are we going to develop it? Which brand are we going to put it under? Number 8, how should the product be packaged? There's laws about how your product has to be packaged, right? Depending on what kind of product you're selling, it might require specific packaging that has to go on it in the box and how it's in there. All right. How might the product service affect our image? Is this something that's going to hurt our company? Is it going to hurt who we are? And is it contrary to who we are and who we want to be? Because we don't want to do that. Right. So there's a lot of things you have to look at. Do we offer a warranty? Are we selling a good product? If we're selling a high quality product, we should probably be offering a warranty. I would think those kind of go together. So we look at key questions in developing successful product services. Again, that's what we've been talking about. All right. Our key questions in developing successful products and services. How are we going to make something? So continues, we look at product decisions. We've talked about this. How are we going to get it out there? Are we going to test market? Ideas. Again, how are we going to make ours different? How much of a risk do we want to take with this? It's going to be something a larger company is going to be looking at. And you'll be looking at that also financially when you're talking about if you're going to be putting out a product. And our last 2 slides here for today. So things that can affect our product, cost of goods sold, most definitely. All right, materials and quality, our promotional campaign, how we're going to brand it. Does it fit into our product line? We talk about Apple products have a lot of different product lines. Can we make it? We talked earlier about what's our packaging going to be. All right, those are internal. And how are we going to get this out? Things that are external. All right, we talk about competition, direct and alternative, people that are doing the same thing, maybe a little bit different. Taxes that can affect our product, our import and export fees if we're going to get into international selling. All right, and a lot of other things. So there's a lot of things going into this of how we're going to make a product, what we're going to put out there. And it's not just, hey, we're going to take this, we're going to throw it out there, we're going to see what happens.